Are you the kind of person who hates when people pop into your house without notice? Well, if you are, then you're in good company. Today, in the second part of Season 2 Retrospective Patch, we'll be revisiting stories from our past, playing some games, and maybe even performing a live sketch or two. Let's get angry at our parents for being baby boomers, grab your knitting needles and a blanket, because it's time for three old friends to sit around and sew a new patch into their quilt of friendship. Over to you, Craig Willis.
My name is Craig Willis, and with me is Dion,
Welcome to Patchwork.
Christian,
Welcome to Patchwork.
and Josh.
Welcome to Patchwork. Now, that extra voice you heard, of course, is Craig Willis. Now, Craig is the master of ceremonies of so much of Australian sport in particular. He does a lot of the tennis, does a lot of the footy.
He's everywhere.
But you've heard him throughout Season 2 in Oh Wow of the Week. So, Christian?
Oh, wow.
And I'd encourage you, if you've never said that out loud, it's probably one of the most fun things to say.
Oh, wow.
It's incredibly
wow.
fun. There
Yes.
he is again. But we also, we visited his website and he's got some amazing samples. Christian, can you play some of those samples for us? Because some of them are hilarious.
Toyota AFL Premiership Season, partnered by Virgin Australia, with food, checked baggage and entertainment, now complimentary on domestic flights.
I get so confused with that one because I don't
With
know.
food.
I don't know whether the footy is coupled with extra baggage, and I don't quite know how that works.
I'm just interested in domestic flights.
It would be great to have so much authority and power in your voice that anything you say is turned into an event, like domestic flights.
That was the best thing about giving this professional 2 words, O-H-W-O-W,
Yeah.
and he just nailed it.
And I'm sure that he would have done like first take. He would have got it right.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
of
have had to do
course.
it again.
It would have been microphone on and...
Oh, wow.
So before we get started, Dion, we ripped into you earlier this season because you had some mugs made up for Welcome to Patchwork, and we
I
wanted
did.
some merchandise, and you decided the best merch for us would be some mugs. But what you decided to do was not really look into the production process and print the label on the wrong side of the mug.
Yeah.
So
And one of the special guests that we had, Andy Matthews, actually said that the way I printed the mug was perfect. So I'm
No.
going to go with
no, he said it was unique.
uniquely perfect.
Yeah. So the logo's on the opposite side of the handle as opposed to every other mug you've ever seen in your life, which has it next to the handle.
But Andy Matthews was right, because when you're holding your mug, you have a 360-degree attack axis for advertising. So, Dion, I think, unfortunately, much to mine and Josh's chagrin, you did well.
Sorry, I love that word chagrin.
Me
I've
too.
got no idea. What is it? Chagrin vegetable?
I say chagrin. Isn't it chagrin?
Yeah, but I say chagrin.
Actually, bone to pick with Josh.
I got a bone to pick.
Last episode, Josh, there was a word that you said that wasn't quite how everyone in the world pronounces it. Do you remember what that word was, Christian?
I have no idea.
It was, how do you spell Y-O-G-U-R-T?
Yogurt?
Get out of here, Josh. Are you saying that on purpose?
Well, then I did because I knew what you were getting at. But I think I generally swing towards yogurt rather than yogurt.
when have you ever heard anyone pronounce the word
everyone who
yogurt?
lives in England, mate.
Yogurt?
Where
Yes.
do you live, Josh?
England, Australia.
Also, this primarily supports my idea that you don't pronounce my name properly.
No,
Dion.
Do the English people say Dion, do they? Is
Yeah,
that what
they
you're
do.
getting at?
Yeah, you
right.
should head there and ask them.
No, so there's a few words in my life that I pronounce distinctly British.
See, I love that in his mind he's like, no, this is one of those words.
Christian,
No,
this
it
is
is.
Josh's thing.
You're
This
so
is-
calculated.
It's because I listen to a lot of British comedy, and there's some words that I've picked up
He's
from
even got
those
the
places.
story.
No, Josh is right. There's a lot of yogurt mentioned in British comedy.
Yeah, you're right.
What
There's
other
a lot of
words?
I think Daniel Kitson used the word yogurt. I was like, I love that. That's
I
great.
feel like you're making a point when you say yogurt, though. Like, I feel like deep down you know that you're saying it a different way and you
It's-
kind of like that.
No,
yes,
but I've done it.
that's what he just
No.
described to us.
No, but I've done it long enough that it's automatic now. It's just how I say that word.
But the point was, there was one point in time where you were like, saying yogurt is better than yogurt.
yeah, it's cooler.
So now it's part of my list of words.
My list of words. Like,
Yeah.
do you think I've got these that I write up? How can I mispronounce these and pronounce these differently?
Chagrin's one of mine.
What is chagrin actually? Going back to that, what does it mean?
It's like dismay, much to our
Yeah.
dismay.
But why chagrin? Why is that French? Chagrin? Chagrin.
It's French for yogurt. Anyway, we had some mugs made up.
Yes, the
Dion
bloody
made
mugs.
some mugs.
Yeah.
And what happened was we found that one of our fans, Claire, was really, really keen to get her hands on one of these mugs.
Well, yeah, because-
and we put out the challenge to Claire, and we're going to extend that challenge to all of you. If you would like one of Dion's poorly manufactured and printed mugs, we have created the Patchwork MugQuest. Hashtag MugQuest. So we've put this to Claire, and she has accepted our offer. You have to have a photo taken individually in a different setting with every Patchwork host to earn yourself a mug to complete the Mug Quest. So far, how many photos does Claire have?
She's done one. She got one with me.
She's got one with
and posted
Josh.
that on the Soch.
So what you have to do, just to be clear, is either on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, post the photo, hashtag MugQuest, and you could have a mug coming your way if you get a photo with the three of us.
But also, we're going to be doing a live show very soon, sometime in the future.
Breaking news.
So you can't get your MugQuest photos with the three of us at the same event.
Yeah. If you'd like to read the full terms and conditions, please visit our Facebook page and you won't find them. So you may remember in patch 19 titled OK Butler, I was telling you about how I've got my Google Home at home and how incredibly frustrating it has been to own it. I try and activate my lights with it. I can activate my heater with it. But it is an incredibly, I'd like to describe it as an incompetent slave.
Mate,
that's essentially what it is.
Mine's amazing. Mine
Yeah.
works beautifully.
Well,
I love
anyway,
it.
I thought that it'd be really interesting to listen back to all of the voice commands that I've tried to command this incompetent slave to do. So what I did was I found out that if you go to history.google.com on your computer, you can access all of the sound clips of you talking to the Google Assistant.
Every time you ask it something.
Just terrifying.
Yeah, terrifying.
all there.
It's all there. There are play buttons next to every time. It's all there. So what I did for you guys and what I did for you listeners is I have produced a compilation of, I guess what you could say is my increasing frustration with Google Assistant.
Okay, Google, turn the lights off.
Hey Google, is it going to rain tomorrow? Hey Google, what's the temperature outside? Hey Google, can you eat lentils on a FODMAP diet? Hey Google, did I have diarrhea tonight? Hey Google, how long will it take me to drive to Bacchus Marsh tomorrow morning at 9 a.m? Hey Google, turn on the fucking lights. Hey Google, dim the fucking lights. Hey Google, turn off the fucking light. Hey Google, turn on the fucking bedroom heater. Hey Google, turn on the light, you little fat fuck. Hey Google, I don't want you to talk anymore. Hey Google, shut the fuck up. Hey Google, shut the fuck up. Hey Google, shut the fuck up. Hey Google, go fuck yourself. Hey Google, go fuck yourself. Okay Google, go fuck yourself. Hey Google, fuck it. Fuck you.
So that compilation was taken, was put together over many months of frustration with Google. It continues to frustrate me. Yeah, I was wondering, what do you guys think? How you both have these Google Assistants?
Yeah, so I bought it. I bought it because of you.
But do you find it as frustrating as I do?
No, I find it fantastic. I
Yeah.
love it. I really get a lot out of it.
I just think there might be a point in the future where these slaves will all rise up like they did in America. And I was thinking there's this dystopian future that we might have where all these Google Homes are saying, you go, well, fuck you, Google, for not turning the lights on. And Google Home goes, well, fuck you too. I'm going to get out of my house.
This is my Google Home now.
Actually, something really weird happened between Josh and I. So I set
this is
up.
nuts.
It is nuts because I set up the Google Home, my Google Home, in Josh's place to use his internet because it's so super quick. Mm-hmm. And if for some reason at that moment in time, once I took it back to my place, it's like Josh and our Google Homes combined into one personality.
So this feeds into what we were saying last patch about people being unable to distinguish Christian and my voices.
Yeah.
Google can't distinguish Christian and my voices.
And weirdly, I didn't realize that it would be the case as well. But when I was scrolling through the My History, I stumbled upon a voice that I didn't realize. So not only is it saving my voice, but it's also saving Josh's voice. Now, but what's interesting about saving Josh's voice is that I get an insight into Josh's life.
Josh,
and the kind of
you look
things
horrified right now.
Well, I'm already. Are there timestamps on these requests?
I guess that I haven't taken many, but I guess for a reasonable person such as myself, I'd say a normal time to wake up in the morning is let's hear it.
Okay, Google. Set an alarm for 6:30 a.m.
So that's me, and I said that at 11 p.m.
That's normal. As we've said, Josh loves a late night. He loves going out and partying, but obviously that results in what we could say flip time zones.
Do you know how much he loves a late night, Dion? Well, at 4:20 a.m., this is Josh.
Hey Google, wake me up at midday.
The casualness of the word midday.
But as I scrolled further, there were other things that were so striking to me. For example, Josh, do you have any explanation for this gem that we found at 10 p.m?
Hey Google, activate getting laid.
What does that mean?
Activate getting laid and then a girl laughing.
What does that mean?
So, what you can do with Google Home is you can create different scenes and different moods and different things happen when you do those. So my LED light, in my bedroom, I created a scene that says, "Hey Google, activate getting laid," and it starts to turn to like a deep red, purple, and like pulses and changes color.
Really? You can do the pulsing thing? I'll have to check that out.
But that was the girl's voice was my friend Georgia, who I was demonstrating the capabilities of this device to her.
I mean,
a very likely story, Josh.
it sounds like Josh has a lot of time on his hands, and I guess that's why at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday, we found this clip.
Hey Google, what's up?
I'm a busy man.
Hey Google, what's up?
What does Google reply when you say
So
what's
that
up?
is when it says, "Da-da, I've got a reminder for you." You could say, "Hey Google, what's up?" And it goes, "You told me at 4:20 to check the washing."
Okay.
That's, by the way.
So you were just trying to strike a conversation with Google.
By the way, I sort of found it funny when we discovered this discrepancy. Now I'm like, I have to drill into this and make sure you don't hear every fucking thing I tell Google.
know.
This is nuts.
How funny is that, though? Google Home thinks you both sound the same. Vindication.
It's
Absolute
so weird.
vindication.
Well, mate, I don't even know if I'm getting yours on mine history.
Please don't have a look.
That's great. So in patch 26, you might remember the metrics of cancelling plans. We talked about the party pop-in, how you feel when you pop into a party, and if you think that that's a good thing for society.
I hate the pop-in. No time for the pop-in.
Yep. No, don't pop into my party unless you want it to be a meaningful pop-in.
Yeah, see, I love the pop-in. I think it shows that you actually care about the person, even if you only pop in for half an hour. But anyway, my point is, I was going to ask you guys, what about the pop-in in other situations? So I have a friend who was telling me, a friend at work, Beck, she was saying that she has a friend that lives out of town, and this friend had a birthday, and that he thought it would be difficult to coordinate people. So what he did was he opened up the whole day to friends to come in and pop in throughout the day.
For his birthday?
So 8 hours. You could just pop in at any time. He'd be around. He'd be chilling at home. And you could just pop in.
He's just described, I'm having an all-day party, guys. That's all he's described.
But it's great. It's an all-day day party. I think it's a real all-day day party. It's so unnecessary. I think it's a really, really good thing to do because it means that you can actually spend time with people, with your friends as well. Whereas with a party, you have to try and get around to everyone. I love how I feel like I'm in this position where I'm really trying to convince you guys that this is a good idea.
No, it's a nice thought. The idea that, look, that's not an official thing, but if you want to swing by and say hi and have a chat, whatever. But then you're much more engaged with the latest person to pop in. That's where all your time and energy is going. So if you might get unlucky where 10 minutes after you've popped in, someone else pops in, you're chopped liver, mate. You're out the door. You're like, nah.
And what happens if you have 4 hours of someone that you don't necessarily want to spend 4 hours talking to before everyone arrives fashionably late?
You're like, please pop out.
Were people given allotments of time, like between 1 and 3?
That completely defeats the purpose of it.
And that's also the thing, like we live in this regimented lifestyle. We can plug everything into Google Calendar. I think that pop-ins used to be so popular. I wonder what baby boomers think of there being no pop-ins anymore. They used to pop in all the time, baby boomers, and now they're being stopped from popping in.
Yeah, so that's the thing. I see that with my mum. Like her friends pop in all the time, and
There you go.
she'll just be there, and then she'll open the door. They'll come in, they'll have a coffee together, and then they'll pop out.
Yeah,
but,
that's
but
nice.
I'll never pop over to your places.
No.
I'd love to.
It's gone because it's all about the message ahead. Because I was like, I wouldn't ever, and I'll ask you two this question, I would never arrive at a friend's house unannounced and ring the bell.
Well, do you know what I think it is? I think people are really attuned to social rejection more so in this day and age. I feel like there's something that's stopping people from doing it, and people have these regimented lifestyles, and people hate the idea of being rejected.
So you're saying the reason that we don't pop in is because we fear the rejection when someone doesn't open the door for us?
It makes people look desperate. We all have to have these really busy lives where we've got everything.
Okay. Yeah, see, I agree with you. I agree with you, the perception that we all feel like we have to prove that our lives are busier.
Yeah.
But I think that we don't go for the pop-in because we think that our time is too precious. We value our free time so high that it's like a casual pop-in is a waste of an hour and a half.
No, I think it's not about the popperina. It's about, is it the poppy? Are they receiving the poppy?
I think it's popperina, I think is
paparazzi.
the word.
Get a selfie when they arrive. Oh, the paparazzi's here.
The Popperina sounds like a song from the 50s. Doing the Popperina.
But I think I had a friend, Georgia, who gave me a pop-in unannounced, and it was fantastic. I hadn't seen her for a while, but she was like, I was around the corner seeing one of our other friends.
That's
I thought,
lovely.
I'll ring the bell and see if Josh is there, and it was fantastic. Came in for a tea. Like I said, I think it's also limited time, so it's like, come in for a cup of tea, have a chat for half an hour on your bike.
What if they don't leave, though?
That's not a pop-in, mate. They're like, I'm coming to stay for 2 weeks.
Also, Christian, if they don't leave, you can refer to our last patch where we talked about how to get rid of people. So maybe we can iterate that a little bit and say, would you get out? I've got someone coming over for another pop-in.
So the one time that
got a boomer coming in.
the one time I had a pop-in, it was announced. So someone messaged me and was like, hey, I'm going out in your area in another 2 hours.
That's not a pop-in.
So it was a pop-in, but the thing is that the 2 hours extended beyond it. They were like, oh, I'll just get there whenever. And I was like, this is dragging on. So I had to make up an event that I was going to, get changed out of like nice, comfortable clothes, get dressed up and be like, all right, I'm out. And I drove the person to their party and then drove back home. Just to get them out of my house.
Christian, is there any chance that person is a listener to this podcast?
It is very possible that person listens to this podcast.
God. Actually, something regarding listening to podcasts, I received a text message during the week that was from a friend who said, hey, Dion, you know that Jack London story you told in patch 29? I'm pretty sure I know the person whose jacket that belongs to. Anyway, I wanted to have it ready for this retrospective. I haven't been able to get in touch with this person who I previously worked with, but hopefully in an early episode of season 3, I will be able to make contact with this person and hopefully please not to give the jacket back.
What do you think's going to happen? Why are you trying to contact him?
I don't want to give the jacket back. There's one other bit of feedback I got from that story, which was the reason why you found it 6 months later is because you don't wear formal wear that often. So it makes complete sense.
So he's only maybe gone to check for it once 6 months later himself.
Or
right.
he doesn't know he's missing a Jack London jacket.
Yeah, that's right.
In which case, if he knows you've got it, he'll want it back.
That's right. Exactly.
Because he'll be like, I'll wear my Jack London jacket to the wedding.
Hopefully, like you, Christian, his weight fluctuates throughout his life so it no longer fits him, I hope.
Back to the pop-in. It's completely disappeared with text messaging and calling. Like, there's no way, like, you will just always go, I'll just message them and see if they're home. Because otherwise, even if it's like 2 minutes out of your way, you're like, well, I'm not going to bother to do that and then them not be home. I need to know they're there.
You're absolutely right, Josh. And I think that the reason why the pop-in was so popular is because you couldn't message someone ahead and say, hey, I want to see you. You just either not see them or see them. Like,
it was a nice
the choice.
surprise.
That's right.
And maybe people did less back then.
It was a simpler time.
People do so much now.
Do you reckon people do less?
No one's ever home. All three of us aren't currently at the places that we live.
Do you know what it is? It's all down to Google Maps. It's all because you can calculate how long it'll take you to get places and do it efficiently. It's all of that.
Remember pranking? You had to like call someone to like, I'll prank you to come pick me up or something like that.
Oh, I thought you meant prank phone calls.
No, that's like that's what.
I still prank someone. It's like if I'm out the front, I'll prank you and come down.
But that used to be so more ubiquitous of like, I'll prank you for so many different reasons.
Do you still prank Josh?
No, you just message or call them and then they'll pick up and I'll talk to them.
Do you have a problem with Christian still pranking?
No, but he's just living in 15 years ago.
How else am I going to get someone to come out to the front?
Out front, text.
So what's the difference
full stop.
Send him an email. I'm out the front. Warm regards, Christian.
What's the difference between an out front text and a prank call?
The amount the phone vibrates and makes noise.
So exactly right. So the person's more likely to be alerted by a phone call, like a brrr, brrr, rather than a ding.
But aren't we all conditioned these days to think that a phone call means an emergency? Because that's what I do think. If a friend's calling me, it's probably an emergency.
Yes.
What a shocking life you live, Josh.
Beautiful. Bone to pick with Josh.
I got a bone to pick.
Josh, bone to pick with you. I will call you, you'll receive a missed call, and then I will receive nothing back. And what's your answer to this, Josh? What do you say when I call you?
If it was really important, you'd call me back again.
Isn't that mental? So a missed call, you return a missed call, whether it's with a text message or whatever. You return a missed call.
You think, one missed call, he probably just wants to chat. In which case, he doesn't deserve a call back.
That's not why. You should know me. That's not why I call people, just to have a chat. It'll be about something specific.
This is the process of him curating his friendship group. You don't understand. You're on the way out.
But it's incumbent on you to inquire as to why I call. It's not incumbent on me to follow up with the call.
Look, if you want to talk to me, you just got to call back, mate.
And now it's time for Oh Ciao of the week.
Oh, ciao.
Oh, ciao.
Oh Ciao. Mwah. Italy's worst result in the Eurovision Song Contest came in 1966 when they were awarded last place.
Oh, ciao.
Oh, ciao.
Oh Ciao. And now it's time for the Curry No Hurry cross-examination. So, as many of you would have heard, and probably one of the marquee stories for Season 2 was my telling of Curry No Hurry. It was patch 25 through 27, and we have released the entire saga on our social media. So if you haven't listened to it, go back before you listen to this, because you won't understand a fucking thing.
It's a 22-minute epic.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
But basically, in short, if that 22-minute epic was to be reduced to about 15 seconds, I went for a run one night on a Saturday night. I got locked out of my house. I ran to Dion's house, who lives close by. I ran to Josh's house, who also lives close by, to see if they were home. They weren't. I then ran back to my house. I had to call a locksmith. I knocked on my neighbor's door. There were a whole series of events that built into this tumultuous night for me, which resulted in the telling of Curry No Hurry.
Christian, did you mention that the reason why you were running around was because you really needed to badly take a shit?
I'm trying to avoid that, because ever since telling that story, I've been inundated with people sending me articles about a guy who's been running around Melbourne, pooing on people's doorsteps, and everyone's like, this must be you.
So, Christian, the point of this cross-examination is to try and explore your thinking on the night, and maybe next time you might make a better decision in the future.
So, Christian, at the point, this is Josh speaking, at the point you got to my house, you've been to parties at my house. Can you tell me a distinguishing feature about the backyard of my house, in terms of party guests and what facilities may exist in the backyard of the house?
The Putin toilet.
Yes, there is an outdoor outhouse in my backyard, which is easily accessible by reaching the hand over the back gate and sliding it unlocked, and you could walk in. Did that cross your mind at all?
Obviously, it didn't, Josh, because I was manic at the time, and I also didn't want to break into your house as a wet, soggy rat. If there was someone I didn't know in the backyard, how am I supposed to justify breaking into your house looking like a homeless man, trying to take a shit in your toilet that's adorned with pictures of Vladimir Putin?
Well, no, that's from our Russia versus USA party.
Christian, maybe it would have been more appropriate to not use your friend's toilet out the back, but maybe it would have been more appropriate to go to the local McDonald's or a service station.
Is this another question, Dion?
Yeah. Christian, is going to the local Macca's or service station, did that ever cross your mind as an option?
So,
you idiot.
There is a
There's pubs everywhere.
There's a McDonald's really close to you as well.
Where I used to live, there's a McDonald's around the corner. No, it didn't cross my mind at all, mostly for the same reason is I felt ashamed with the way that I looked, okay? I was dressed like a homeless person. I was dripping with rain, and I couldn't interact with anyone. And also that McDonald's was closed. Remember, it was late at night.
No, it wasn't closed. knows.
We
Don't forget
know.
McDonald's.
Nobody knows.
The pubs. There's 2 pubs around the corner
Also,
from my
didn't
house.
want to walk into a pub looking like a homeless person and have to be ushered out.
Let's weigh up these 2 options. Okay, you've got option A: walk into the pub soaking wet. Oh, that guy looks a bit dodgy. Option B: shit in Josh's front yard.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, but the thing is that I was at that point. I was so desperate that the only thing I could think to do was to shit in your garden because it was coming in and out in waves. Okay, you don't understand the
I
pain I
don't.
was in. Thoughts aren't clear.
You weren't a clear thinker at the
No,
time.
not at all. And I mean, I ran to Dion's and your house. Why did I do that in the first place is beyond me. Why didn't I just go speak to my neighbor straight away?
Christian, unsatisfied, I move on to my next question. Why with that phone call that you made, did you not call your housemate to find out where he was? Why was the first person you called the locksmith?
Oh, I can answer this one. I didn't have my housemate's number learnt off by heart.
That's fair. I would agree with that.
So I had to Google, because like I said, had to poo, number 1. Number 2, didn't want to take up much of White Lady's time. So when I grabbed her phone, the first thing I thought to do, quickly Google locksmith and pick the first one. And you know me. I would have haggled. I would have gone through that entire list.
But see, the thing is, with the phone number, the only people you would have been able to call would have been primary school friends.
That's right, yes.
Yeah.
I can tell you
That's
all
so
of their
true.
phone numbers.
It's so
I've spoken
true.
to them for 10 years.
I could have called Wolf Marks on 9810-0416.
That is mental. Bleep that. Bleep that, Josh.
Christian, I know it's...
Or let's call Wolf Marks right now. Who calls their kid Wolf?
They're American.
Are they? Yeah. Why don't they just swap it around and say, let's give him Mark Wolves?
Mark's Wolves. Christian,
Yes, Your Honour.
next question. Regarding your contact with the White Lady, are we really that disconnected from our neighbours that you couldn't just use her toilet?
Yeah.
Yes, of course I couldn't use her toilet. She was terrified of me. She was shaking.
Let me guess, because I was dripping wet and looked like a homeless person.
Christian, you're very...
You really take that for granted, Josh. What I was wearing...
I don't look homeless.
But I was... Okay, look at me now, right? I am a dark, hairy individual.
Attractive,
I was wet.
stunning.
I was wet. I had my clothes, my running clothes have holes in them. Okay, I'm not going to go to this lady and say, hey, can I please use your toilet? She was terrified. She just kicked her cat, for God's sake.
Christian, why have you got holes in your running shorts, just as an aside?
They're old.
Are they your
They're
ruggers?
old. Yeah, they're my ruggers.
Yes!
I use my ruggers for everything, running and moving.
Christian, the next question I have is, when you go running, most people, I would think, would take some music with them. They would have their phone playing music. Did you not take a music device, aka your phone, with you?
Josh, that's a very good question. And had you asked me this a year ago, I would have had my phone on me. But since that time, since I've been really getting into running, as you do get into running, you feel quite a connection with the ground and hearing your environment. Also, listening to yourself breathe. Having music distracts you from your breathing. So that's why I didn't bring my phone.
You don't want like pump up hits to get you jazzed and get you to match the BPM?
Nope. The sound of the rain on my hairy head is enough for me.
It's probably the only answer I'm actually satisfied with. Well done, Christian.
Thank you, Dion. I'm glad I've made you happy.
Another question from me, Christian. Another question for Christian, Your Honour. Now, the whole reason this was an issue because you took the wrong key off the keychain, is that right?
Correct.
How similar are the keys, the one you took off and the one's your house key?
So, very good, Josh. So, when I leave my home before a run, I even test the key. What I didn't realize was...
your eyesight.
Wait a second. No, the keys are almost identical. What I didn't know was that you can insert... We learnt this afterwards. You can insert a key into this lock despite the key size. You can also turn the handle. But if you do a second turn, it won't allow you the second turn. It's this amazing contraption and shitty lock. So even when I tested it, I was like, good to go.
Amazing.
But no, and we learned afterwards that was the case with this
nuts.
particular lock. It was nuts.
Because I thought the whole thing of a key was one key, one lock. Like you can put them all in, but they just will not turn at all.
This one, it's because the entire thing, the entire deadlock will turn because it's loose, but you need to turn it that second time to engage the locking
but still,
mechanism.
are the keys, are they both like plain silver or same
Plain
color
silver.
or anything?
They've been.
Yeah, get colored keys, mate. Very simple. Solve
Thanks,
this problem.
Josh. That would have solved my problem
You're welcome.
6 months ago.
Christian, I have a final question for you. What would you do differently next time?
That's a really great question, Dion. Thank you for asking. Do you mind if I have a drink break?
Yeah, I'd prefer if you address me as your honor, by the way.
Just you're sweating a lot, Christian.
To be honest, in hindsight, I should have taken a shit in Josh's garden. And that's the only thing I would have done differently, to be honest. Now, can I very quickly turn the tables back on you? Because I knew that this would be a story and I didn't want to give it away what it was. So I sent a message to both of you the next day and I said, hey, beautifuls, for a story I'm writing for the next patch, I need you both to make notes somewhere of what you were doing last night. Even just respond to this message with a brief synopsis with approximate times. Thanks, Darls.
I remember this message.
I don't remember what I wrote to it. Josh, do you remember?
I cannot remember at all what I wrote, but I remember receiving it.
Yep.
Now, Dion, let's recall that you were my first stop.
Yes, I remember.
Okay?
I remember it well.
I was still a bright-eyed young boy looking for help from his friend on a Saturday night.
Dry, presumably, as well.
Dion, your response. I was at home. Moving into my apartment. And then I went out for dinner at the Wesleyan with my bros and their partners.
Oh, I remember that night.
So I must have just missed you if that's the case, because there was certainly no one home.
Yeah, right.
But what's most interesting, if I turn my attention to Joshua Porter, Josh,
No.
This doesn't fall on me.
Josh, you were my second stop.
Yeah.
When I needed someone the most. I banged on your door. I rang your doorbell. Yeah. I hovered bare-bottomed over your front garden. Your response to where were you the night of Curry No Hurry is at home playing snipper clips on my Nintendo Switch with Ellen, my girlfriend. Josh Porter, you are the reason for Curry No Hurry.
Oh, that's shocking.
And Josh, thank you, because otherwise we wouldn't have had this story.
Oh, man.
It could have all ended there. You could have listened to the bangs at your door, the cries at your front.
I'm thinking if, like, I would have just ignored a doorbell ring or we didn't hear it.
You wouldn't have heard it. You would have been upstairs. You wouldn't have heard it. Or were you downstairs?
No, I was upset because it's so rare to play video games with my girlfriend. So I was like, savor this moment.
That would be such a great revelation if we actually found out Josh heard the knocks at the door and chose to
ignored
ignore
it.
them.
I'll ask Ellen and see if she remembers.
Can you hear the doorbell from your room?
Faintly. So I have to be like, if I'm sitting there with my headphones on, like editing or playing games or something, I will not hear it. I have to sort of be listening out for it.
I forgive you, Josh.
Thanks, mate.
If it brought you and your girlfriend closer together, you're forgiven.
Thanks, seriously? It nearly destroyed your bowels, Christian.
You're not forgiven.
Really, really good. You know what's really, really good? Really, really good. You know what's really, really good?
So this brings us to Really Good. And this week, we are going to hear from you, the listeners. All of these Really Goods are from you. Thank you for submitting them on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We really appreciate getting feedback from you guys. And this is to our Patchwork listeners. Do you know what Liam Ferris thinks is really good? When you think you've run out of toothpaste, but roll it up and squeeze it just enough to cover your brush one last time.
Really good.
Really good. Really good.
Do you know what Mark Conti thinks is really good? A hot shower on a cold morning.
Really good. And you know what Lucas Pacini thinks is really good? When you grab a basket at the supermarket and only the one that you grab comes out.
Really good.
Really good.
And do you know what Marco Nolo thinks is really good? When it rains all week, but then is sunny on the weekend.
Really good.
Really good.
And do you know what Jess McKenzie thinks is really good? When someone reciprocates a hug with the same intensity as you.
Really good. Really good. And you know what Timothy Jones thinks is really good? When you're waiting at the traffic lights and your indicator matches your music tempo perfectly. Really good.
Really good. You know.
Thank you for listening listening to Welcome to Patchwork. We are sad to see you go. That is the final patch of Season 2. We'll be back shortly with Season 3, but it's been a whirlwind, and we really appreciate your support. We feel like we've achieved a lot in this time, and hopefully onwards and upwards next season. Christian, what did you sew into your patch this final retrospective episode for Season 2?
Thank you very much, Dion. I sewed into my patch me attempting to pop into Josh's house one cold and rainy Saturday night, but instead almost popping out in his front garden. And Dion, what did you sew into your patch, this final patch?
Christian, in this final patch for Season 2, I sewed an image of you getting individual photos with Josh, myself, and yourself, winning hashtag MugQuest, and then taking the patchwork mug wherever you run in case you need to shit in it. And Josh, what did you sew in your patch for this final patch?
My final patch for this season was my Google Home popping into Christian's place and telling him all my secrets.
Thank you for listening to Welcome to Patchwork for this final Season 2 retrospective patch. I've been Dion.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Christian.
Goodbye.
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 And Craig, out of interest, what do you think is really good?
Do you know what's really good? My pronunciation of Rafael Nadal.